Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Live. My name is Dr. Peter A. James, and I'm so excited to have you here with us today as we dive on into Napoleon Hill's infamous book, Think and Grow Rich. Specifically, this week, we're going to dive into the chapter 11, the subconscious mind. We're going to dive into that not by ourselves, but of course, we have a special guest with us today who's going to analyze what the subconscious mind, what affecting the subconscious mind looks like for her. So we're going to have a very robust show. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for your questions, your comments, and the chat today. As always, hope you're doing well this Saturday morning. But I'm not alone. As always, I have a partner, an angel partner with me today. Galen Bingham, good morning, sir, the leadership strategist. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's been a while. We seem to keep missing each other, but this is a great topic. This is going to be a great chapter. This is one of those chapters where if you don't handle this right, it could actually hijack all of your goal setting, because the subconscious mind works day and night. And it works on the things that you feed it. It also works on the things that happen to dominate it based on neglect. And I like the way the author put it: positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. It's your responsibility to make sure that positive emotions constitute the dominating influence in your mind. Here, the law of habit will come to your aid. So you literally have to put in work to make sure that you've got positive affirmations, some sort of positive response to those negative and self-limiting beliefs that we all have from time to time. So a lot of times people will think that the subconscious mind is just there, and I can just kind of let it do its thing. Well, you can, but you might not be happy with the result if you just let it do its work. So we've got to really put in some effort to make sure that the subconscious mind is acting on things that we want it to act on. So I'm really, really excited to get into this chapter. I'm excited to talk to our guests, because this is at the cornerstone of realizing the goals that we set for ourselves.
Love it. I love what you mentioned there, Galen, about intentionality. We don't often realize the negativity that's seeps into our subconscious on a regular basis. We don't really recognize that, we're being inundated by these messages, media, social media ads that affect our negativity. Actually, I was reading an article just the other day how crime in the U.S. has actually been going down over the years. But all we get from the reports on a regular basis, how crime and violent crime continues to go up. But that's what sells. That's what sells. I wonder how we can switch that narrative in our own mind today, but also moving forward overall. Galen, how do you go about doing that?
Again, it comes back to that line that I just read about positive and negative emotions can't occupy the mind at the same time. I like to say it defies the law of physics. So when I recognize that I'm down, I'm negative, I'm not as positive as I normally try to be, I've got a set of affirmations that I go to that just snaps me out of that state that I'm in. And so I would encourage everyone to do something similar. You can identify when your energy is low, when you're not responding as positively as you would like. You need to have some sort of mantras or affirmations that will snap you out of it. Because I find, for me, once I'm in that space, it's hard for me to work myself out unless I had some go-to responses.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Definitely want to acknowledge our guest, our audience who is with us today. I see Renette, I see Colette, I see Doretha. As always, good morning to you all. Hope you are doing well. Would love to hear and read how you all continue to impact your subconscious on a regular basis. What does intentionality look like for you as you move forward around that space, around that framework? But Galen, we're not alone. While we don't have the master wealth builder with us today, Ann McNeil, she's out probably doing great things. We do have a very special guest with us this morning. So I definitely want to bring her in, Miss India Roberts. India Roberts is the president of Bees Professional Services, Income Tax Preparation, Bookkeeping, and Accounting Services. She has over 13 years experience in the tax and consulting industry and has started her tax career in 2008. And after a complete reset, India has moved her professional services and dedicated to her mother, Bobby Elaine, whom she credits greatly. India, good morning to you. How are you doing today?
I am well, and thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. And thank you guys so much for allowing me to be on this platform. I'm so excited to share the information and the things that I've learned throughout my career about the subconscious mind.
Good stuff. Good stuff there, Indy. So excited to have you with us today. Thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us a brief background on who you are and maybe a little bit about your career and how you got to be the professional tax preparer, the best bookkeeper. What led you to this industry, to this work?
Well, the thing about what I do and who I am, first and foremost, we are a full service accounting firm. Bees Professional Bees Professional Services is a full service accounting firm. We service all 50 states. And the reason or my why I started this particular company was because, life was happening. And I was in mortgage for over, 15, 16 years. And then life started happening to me. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. And so I had to pivot. So that means that I had to make a decision to take care of her, along with being a mother, a provider as well. So those are the reasons why I actually did what I did when it came down to my actual company, and just being someone who loves to serve and help people is one of the other reasons that I actually decided to start Bees Professional Services, guys. When we started this particular company, it was only going to be open for about uh, 4 months out of the year. Okay.
Mhm.
But I do know that I was pushed to actually make sure that this company is open all year long. So we're not considered a pop up shop. If you guys know me, you'll know that that's one of my things. What we do is a livelihood, it's a lifestyle, and it's not a pop up shop. So we not only prepare income tax preparations or do those things such as that, we're a full service accounting firm. So from your books, financial statements, P&Ls, those things like that, we handle those things as well. Life insurance, health insurance, financial planning as well. So if you know that, you are in need of those services, just make sure you reach out to us. And we are on the internet, and so you can kind of Google us.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's pivot a little bit over to Think and Grow Rich there, Miss India. How were you first? This is an Ann McNeil question, by the way. How were you first introduced to this phenomenal text that we're getting ready to review in a little bit?
Well, for me, it was because I'm an early bird. I'm usually up at 5:30 in the morning, sometimes at 4:30. Usually I'll have, those things come to me during that time. So over about, I say about 5 years ago, I had been looking for self improvement, those different things such as that, just to kind of, make sure that I'm on the right track, and I'm able to serve those individuals that need serving. And in order for me to be able to do that, I had to work on myself. So I did some work. Looked at the book, and I was like, okay, this is something that I think that is going to help me throughout my journey in my career.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I want to bring Galen back on into this conversation. Galen, we talk day in and day out, week in and week out, also about Think and Grow Rich. But we have a video. Do you mind teeing that up for us a little bit?
Yeah, this is like I said at the top. This is an incredibly important discussion topic. But the thing that I really like about what Napoleon Hill has done is he's made this part of an entire success philosophy, and so it really becomes powerful when you start thinking about how this fits into the other steps of the philosophy. So let's take a listen to this video, and we'll get back into our conversation with Miss India.
Number 1 is desire. Napoleon Hill said that everything starts with a burning desire, a compelling reason for doing what it is we do. Step 2 is faith, having belief in our ability to attain that which we desire. Step 3 is what we call autosuggestion. Autosuggestion simply means being very intentional about the things that we are pouring into our thoughts, into our brains, and into our consciousness. Our brains, our minds will receive everything automatically, but we have to work extra hard to make sure that the positive things are what we are feeding ourselves, because those positive thoughts are going to turn into positive actions. Step number 4 is specialized knowledge. No one person knows everything, even about whatever their particular area of expertise might be. And the value of the mastermind principle is using the specialized knowledge of other people. Step number 5 is imagination, the workshop of the mind. Everything starts with our imagination and our thoughts, the burning desire to transform those thoughts into our reality. In order to do that, we have to take a look at step 6, which is organized planning. That is how we crystallize our desire into action, organizing ourselves. Having the thought and not acting on the thought isn't going to get us anywhere. We have the thought, we go through the organized planning to transform that thought into action. Step number 7 is decision. What Napoleon Hill said is the mastery of procrastination. Napoleon Hill said that the antidote to procrastination is simply to make a decision and then move on that decision. Step 8 is persistence. We have to have a sustained effort which is induced by our faith in order to achieve our goals. One of Napoleon Hill's books I love, even the title, 3 Feet from Gold. Those people who became rich during the gold rush in the wild, wild west days didn't do that because they were necessarily smarter or had better information than anyone else. It's because they stayed just a little bit longer. Sometimes people left when they were just literally 3 feet from gold. So hanging in there, being persistent, is step number 8. Step number 9, the power of the mastermind, the driving force. None of us can accomplish anything on our own. Everybody, I don't care who you are, from the most prominent person to the person who might be considered the lowest on the totem pole, everybody has someone who helped them get to where they are. And the power of the mastermind is being able to use those influences around us, use the thoughts, use the knowledge, use the exploration of other people to help us in achieving our goal. Step number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. This title can be a little confusing, but essentially what the mystery of sex transmutation means is that we oftentimes in our society think of sex as being purely physical. It is absolutely physical, but what Napoleon Hill teaches us is that sex also has an emotional element, and that sex is the strongest of our desires. That if we can take our sexual energy, transform that into positive, creative influences, it can propel us to new heights. And so we spend quite a bit of time talking about the mystery of step 10, which is sex transmutation. Step number 11 is the subconscious mind, which Napoleon Hill tells us is the connecting leap between our human mind and the infinite intelligence, the source of all thought, the source of all creativity. Conscious mind, we spent some time talking about how we use that through the influence of autosuggestion and what we're feeding into our mind. Step number 12, which is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station of thought. Final step number 13, the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. This is the final step through which infinite intelligence may and will communicate voluntarily without any effort from or demands by the individual. The principle is the apex of the philosophy. It can be assimilated, understood, and applied only by first mastering the other 12 principles.
Good stuff. Love that video every time I watch it as it goes. Gives us a great overview of this book, these 13 principles, these 13 steps, as we like to call them for sure. See, we've got some new folks in following us on the audience. We see Sharice, we see Wyman. Good morning to you both. Hope you all are doing well. Happy Saturday to you all. Would love to bring our guest back in today, and also Galen back in as we have a discussion around this subconscious mind. And here's my question to you there, Miss India, about this subconscious. Now, we talked about how you were introduced to this book, but now your subconscious. It seems like you have a thriving business there. How do you stay focused on growing the business? How do you impact your subconscious mind as opposed to not letting the world, the business environment get to you on a regular basis? What strategies might you use?
Well, one of the things, and I think that's a great question. And one of the things for me is always going to the word. For me, being a Christian and a believer, for me, that's one of the word. The word, just going to the word and knowing exactly who my creator is. That's one of the ways. But the next way is my affirmations. So I'll get up and I'll actually affirm myself daily. I look myself in the mirror and tell myself that, hey, even though a storm is here, it doesn't dictate the future after the storm. So that's part of me making sure that I do what's necessary, because the subconscious mind, a lot of people don't know, it actually it makes up about 95% of your brain power. And a lot of people don't know that, your conscious mind, it's always going, but your subconscious mind, it works more so than your conscious mind. It dictates where you're going to go in life. It dictates how your business is going to flow. And you can really recognize what that looks like by the way your business, the ups and downs. Okay. So I know when it's time to do something different is because guess why? The receipts start going down, right? And if you're a business owner, you'll know what that looks like. Or either when the receipts go down, the mood goes down. That's what I say. So that means that it's something in me that I need to do differently in order for me to actually get those receipts back up. So for me, the subconscious mind is very prominent in my life, and just understanding how it actually works and being okay with being in one of those moods, because life is going to happen, whether it be death, whether it be you having to pivot, whatever is happening, you have to know subconsciously that it's only a moment. It's a moment in time. It doesn't dictate your future.
Good stuff, Galen. I want to bring you in. I've been asking all the questions, man. I gotta get you to ask India and put her on the spot with some serious questions.
No. I mean, there's no spot here. I like everything that she's been talking about. Just I'll go back to the text. The text says that if you are an observing person, you will notice that most people resort to prayer only after everything else has failed, or else they pray by ritual of meaningless words. And because it is a fact that most people who pray do so only after everything else has failed, they go to prayer with their minds filled with fear and doubt, which are the emotions that the subconscious mind acts upon and passes on to the infinite. So, again, just the idea of emotion is what drives action within your subconscious mind. So India, to you, one of the things that I'd love to pivot off your last answer is how do you make sure that you're not just going to your faith when you're troubled, when things are bad, but you're constantly trying to keep the positive emotion, especially when it comes to accomplishing your goal, running your business. As an entrepreneur, I know that some of those nights are kind of dark, but there's got to be a positive emotion to drive your subconscious to do the kinds of things that we each try to do on a daily basis, or that we each do on a daily basis.
Well, I truly believe is that, hey, we already know that trials and tribulations are going to come. The thing is, with us, you have to be devoted to something. So that means that you're consistently doing it daily, even before the trials and tribulations come. So you have to be grounded in what your belief system is. And if you are not grounded, the problem lies is when the issues arise, and then you try to go and say, oh God, please help me, please help me. Well, you have to already have put the work in prior to, because as you know, the word says that the trials and tribulations are going to come. So why not actually do a devotional every day? So for me, what I do is my affirmations. A lot of people don't know this, but I have sticky notes. These sticky notes are around in my room because, my room is my safe place. So for me, I have sticky notes and I have scriptures, and I have not only just scriptures, but things to remind me. I have my vision board. So things are to remind me that it is not just a moment of, devastation where I have to go down into prayer, or, it's not just a moment when all things are, bad. I want to go and say, oh, I need some help. I need to be doing that prior to. See, the problem is with people, we always want to run to the source when the issues arise, when you should have a devotion daily. So I have a book that I read every day. Every day. It's my devotional. I do it every day. I listen to a couple of things on the internet. The internet gives you all the things that you need in order for you to stay motivated. And the key is to continue to stay motivated. And a lot of people may think that being motivated, oh, well, you just, why are you happy every day? Well, why should I be sad? I mean, I don't have nothing to be sad about, because if you've walked in my shoes, then you'll know that, hey, you have to accept today for what today brings, and tomorrow is going to bring what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Very, very often people will say, Galen, how are you doing? My answer is I'm outstanding, because outstanding is a choice, right? Sometimes you have to just choose to be happy in the midst of, as opposed to allowing the situations to dictate how you're feeling. And I love to put up the comments. Winbush is in the house. Love he said we must pray with a spiritual position of victory, not physical position of defeat or need. So my physical condition has no bearing on how I'm feeling that day, and that has to be a choice. And I love your approach to making sure that you are arriving at your day with a positive outlook. You've got to set those seeds in the beginning. Very similarly to you, I usually start my day with watching some motivational videos. I read my affirmation, trying to give myself the best shot possible to have success on purpose, as opposed to being tossed here to and fro based upon whatever's coming. Dr. Peter, before I take this back to you, I want to ask Ms. Indy another question. What are some examples of things that you do when you are going throughout your day and you interact with people? The people might have some negative energy. And, my wife teases me all the time that when we first met, one of my common phrases was, oh, negativity, I gotta go. It's too negative here. I gotta go. So what are some things that you do when you sense that there are people around you who don't have the same vibe, and they might impact your subconscious?
You know what, that's a good question, because a lot of people that know me know that I'm like, oh, I got to protect my peace. Peace is everything. Okay. So it's a choice. I'm so grateful that we have the choice of free will, right? So for me, when I, even with my clients that's coming in and and they're having a moment, of course I'm gonna give a listening ear, but they only get a couple of seconds of that listening ear before I tell them, hey, you have to look on the brighter side of things. Even if my girlfriends are calling me, colleagues are calling me, and they're having, bad days. A bad day is going to be just a bad day. It's not even a bad day if you really look at it. It's a bad moment. It's a bad second. It's a bad hour. And so you have to push forward towards that. And also, I believe in resolution. How do we resolve? How can we move past this? And what are you going to do to prevent this from happening again? And that's one of the reasons why I always start out my day with my affirmations, because, and reading my devotional, getting into my word, because as you know, the day is going to come with some of those things, those trials and tribulations, as I stated before. But it is up to you to have the full armor on. And if you don't have the full armor on, I promise you something is going to rock your boat. And I'm not saying this to say, oh, I don't get rocked. Oh, I've been shaken. Okay, I've been shaken, but the difference between the shaking, the rock, and myself is that I know exactly it's only a moment, it's a second, it's an hour. It doesn't dictate the rest of my day or the rest of my or remaining of my life. Even in loss, and you guys, you can look at my story or what have you, but even in loss as a young woman, losing my mother, and that's all I knew because she was a single parent. Even with that, yeah, I had a whole 5-6 years because I was pregnant with my now 10-year-old when she passed away. So even with that, I knew, it's a lifelong journey, but I cannot stay in that. I had to pull myself up by the bootstraps. I had to make sure that not only I'm taken care of, but also the people that's around me, including my business. So one thing that I want you guys to understand is that don't allow the moment, the second, the hour, or the day, if you call it a day, to stop you from actually giving gratitude or being in gratitude. And that'll take you a long way.
Wow, Dr. Peter, she's taking us to church, man. What else? What questions do you have?
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff there, Miss India. Thank you so much, and actually, good insight. I love how you rebound. I was thinking about the question, and you even answered it before I had the chance. Circumstances, challenges, roadblocks, obstacles, and hurdles—they're just part of our journey on a regular basis. And it sounds like that you have, when experiencing them, you have a recipe for overcoming, for going through them, over them, or around them. How does Think and Grow Rich? How does this book play into that? I know you mentioned it earlier, but would love to hear about how that has influenced. I heard also the affirmations that you have around you. What about Think and Grow Rich? Where does that play into this schematic for overcoming?
And the book alone itself is just like a recipe. Okay, so if you follow the recipe, if you know how to cook, which I mean, I'm still working on that, but I can burn up something in the kitchen, as I always say, but it is a recipe. And if you follow the recipe with the instructions, you will be able to move forward in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Okay, as we talk about the subconscious mind, a lot of people are not well aware of what the subconscious mind does for you, and how it affects and effects everything around you. Okay, and it brings your reality into place. So wherever you are in life, and if you haven't had an opportunity to read the book itself, I strongly recommend for you to go ahead and do so, and take it week by week. Don't try to read the book in its whole entirety. Take one chapter and study on that particular chapter as a weekly lesson. And Think and Grow Rich actually has improved the way that I think, the way that I see things, the way that I handle certain things in my life, especially when it comes down to the subconscious mind and understanding how to get a handle on that. I mean, it's easier said than done. A lot of people can say, a lot of people tell you, oh yeah, you have to have a positive attitude. It's more than that. It is more than that. Sometimes you have to clean. You got to do some cleaning. And that means that you have to have realization within self to know what needs to be cleaned. And that means that you have to either let something go, remove something, okay, and take ownership. And if you are not willing to do those things, you're wherever you are in life is because of your subconscious mind, which has brought your reality to forefront. And so that's just for me. I think that the way that it has impacted and affected me and how I utilize this particular book is just chapter by chapter, week by week, day by day, and just read a little bit at a time.
Yeah, thanks for saying that there, Indy, because I know so many people look at this book and think it's somewhat daunting on the surface, how it's so big, a la the Bible to a certain extent. I also love what the text says, especially in this chapter at the very end. Faith is the only known agency which will give your thoughts a spiritual nature in this way. Then it goes on to say, to Miss India's credit, faith and fear make poor bedfellows. Where one is found, the other cannot exist. So what I'm also hearing from you there, Miss India, is that going hand in hand, this Think and Grow Rich and the Bible are two great texts in your life. Is that somewhat accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree. And you have to have something, you know, and whatever that something is for you, whatever higher power, infinite, whatever you want to call it, you have to have a belief system in something. Because if I truly believe, if you don't have a belief system in something, and whatever that something is for you, it will dictate where you go in life. I mean, even with this book working hand to hand, and if you get into it deeply, if you look at the Bible and you look at the book, and I'm, and don't get me wrong, but it does quote some of scripture. It does quote some scripture, and it gives you the tools and resources in order for you to be actually successful in this thing. And so don't take it lightly. Just, take your time with it. And just read a chapter a week if you can get a chapter a week in. If not, just do page by page.
I love the recipe overall there, Miss Indy, as well. One of the things you also mentioned, on top of this subconscious, on top of Think and Grow Rich, on top of the Bible, is surrounding yourself with great individuals who also are like-minded in this way.
Yes.
Our angel here, Galen Bingham, he is one of those individuals for me. Talk about that a little bit in your life, about the individuals who you are surrounding yourself, who also are impacting their subconscious, who also subsequently are impacting your subconscious. What does that look like for you?
Well, I'm gonna tell you about this old saying. I'm a Texas lady, right? I tell you one thing, and this old saying is that you are guilty by association, right? And another saying is that if you have four broke people around you, guess who's going to be the fifth? You are. Right. So the thing is that you have to check and balance. You have to figure out who's in your circle. And if you know that you have a negative Nancy, and this is just being, transparent at this moment. If you have a negative Nancy, every time you talk to this person, and this person always has something going on that's negative, you need to check that. And when I say check it, that means that you need to check yourself. And what that means is that if you're going left and they're going right, that means that two are going on two different paths. And those two cannot exist. And I'm not saying that, you have to, leave that person alone. These may be lifelong relationships. That means that you have to protect your space, meaning that protect your peace, meaning that you have to give them a certain amount of time daily. Because if not, it's draining. If you notice, if you're on the phone with someone, and after you get off the phone with them, or even in their presence, and you're drained, that's an indicator for you. That's an indicator that something is not moving like it should. Okay. And so you have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are going in the same direction. You may have just started this journey, right? But the thing is that now that I've started on this journey, of course, you're going to be more aware of the things people say. You're going to be more aware of the people that's around you. You're going to be more aware of the energy that comes into your space. And when you start receiving that awareness, that means that you are headed to a higher place. So that means that you have to surround yourself with people that are going to feed into you, not take from you. Okay. So the sad part about it is, no, everybody cannot go with you. Now you can give them the resources, allow them to read, to come along with this journey, come along with you, with this journey, but it's your journey. It's your energy. It's your peace. It belongs to you. So you have to make a conscious decision. Is this person worth my peace? Are they worth being in my circle? What value do they have? What value am I giving? And it's not all about you getting what you need. It's reciprocal. That means that you got to be able to give something. They have to be able to give something as well.
Good stuff. Galen, wow, I don't even know where to start with that one.
Yeah, I want to jump in there because one of the things that India just touched on is how this has a bigger impact than just money. And a lot of times people will read the title of the book and they think that this is just about accumulating money because that's how they define riches. And while that is part of it, it's broader than just defining riches as money. There are actually 12 enduring riches that Napoleon Hill talks about. Positive mental attitude, sound physical health, harmony in human relations, freedom from fear, hope of future achievement, capacity of applied faith, willingness to share blessing, labor of love, open mind on all subjects, self-discipline, wisdom to understand people, and then the 12th one is financial security. So back to what what you just shared, this is how you accumulate any of those things, and all of those things that we just mentioned. You've got to, as Wyman put in the chat, you've got to be proactive around making sure that you've got people around you who will support these things that you're trying to accomplish, as well as prepare your subconscious mind with affirmations, because the subconscious mind, that's where the action comes from. It doesn't come from your conscious mind. Your conscious mind just calculates and assesses, but your subconscious mind is what actually drives behavior. So if you're not actively investing in creating the influences that you need in your subconscious mind, then you're just fooling yourself into thinking that you're actually progressing. So very, very important. What's your reaction to that before we go on to the next topic? India, what's your reaction to this idea that your subconscious mind drives riches, however you might define it? However you might define riches, it's not just relegated to money.
And that is absolutely true. A lot of, and people always, and not always, but I wouldn't say, because everybody is in a different stage in their life, right? And I strongly and I truly believe that, this book will equate or equip you with what it means to be wealthy. Not just rich, but wealthy. It's two different things, to be rich and then to be wealthy, right? Wealth is legacy. That's legacy. And your legacy is the people that you touch, not just your family, right? It's not just the people that you're going to leave or the people that's coming behind you. It is the people that you serve on a day-to-day basis. And what that means is that sometimes, of course, we all want the Lamborghini. We want the Prada, the Gucci. Everybody wants that. But the thing is that that's rich. What does your wealth look like? And for me, it's always going to be, who do I serve? You know, who needs me, and what capacity do they need me in? And with this particular book, it will teach you what that looks like for you, and along with your affirmation. If you don't have affirmations, you can reach out to me. I have a ton of them. I'm willing to share those things for you and with you. um, but the thing is what I want you all to realize and to understand: you can be either two things. You can be rich or you can be wealthy. Either way, it's going to equate to some type of monetary enjoyment, right? Either way, it's going to equate to something that you have left behind or you have gained. The thing is that you have to determine which one you want to be, or where you want to be at in life. Or if you're okay with where you are, that's perfectly fine. Don't allow what other people are doing to project on where you are now, in the now. And so I think that it is up to us to make sure that we enlighten individuals that it's okay to be where you are, and just move from that.
I love it. I love it. Hey, one of the things I want to bring everyone's attention to, something that you just talked about, is just the importance of surrounding yourself with people who will speak life into your dreams, speak life into the things that you say that you want to accomplish. And one of the first places that I went to that I was able to get a big major dose of that was this annual meeting. So every year, the first week in January, uh, hundreds of like-minded people descend on Boca Raton, Florida, in order to get a big dose of what it takes to really live out these principles, what it takes to really step into the goals and dreams that you have. So, Lisa, if you could put up the other image, because we want to make sure that people, how they get in touch with this annual meeting, and just make sure that you are there in Boca Raton, Florida. That's where you can find like-minded people. That's where you can find mastermind members. That's where you can find accountability partners. And in order to come, not only do you pay the small registration fee, but you are required to bring your life in writing. So you have to build an annual report as if you were a corporation, an annual report of what you did the previous year to achieve your goals, in order to give your investors confidence that you're going to do what it takes for you to achieve your goals for the upcoming year. So right now, very, very incredibly low price of $99 as an early bird special. But the money isn't even the block, the hurdle. The hurdle is, are you willing to take a deep dive look into your life, what's working, what's not working, and then have other people hold you accountable to doing things that you need to in order to accomplish these goals once and for all? So I would encourage everyone to be a part of that annual meeting. Dr. Peter, I know you've been there a couple of times. What's your take on this annual meeting?
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Galen, from the perspective of starting the year off on the right foot with planning about what I would like to accomplish. And then what I also love about that planning does not just encompass that year. In this case, of course, it's going to be 2023, but it has us review our life in general, where we've come from, but more importantly, where we would like to go. And now we want to plan effectively in all areas of our life, not even just our business, not even just our family, but maybe even vacations, maybe even in future goals, maybe even your obituary, writing out your obituary, which will dictate how you desire to live the rest of your life. And I love that. And many people think that's a little bit unique. But here's why I love that, because that is me speaking into existence my future, how I desire to design it. And those of you who have never experienced something like that, have never been to some type of annual meeting where you are surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who are on their trajectory of growth for themselves, but also for you, this is the place. And at $99, you can't really beat that at all. You can't beat that at all.
Hey, we got a question there in the chat. I want to get India to react to the question from Annette. She's asking, how do you advise your clients on growing their wealth? And we've talked about how wealth obviously has a financial element to it, but there's also expected definition of wealth. How do you advise your clients on growing their wealth?
And one of the ways that we actually advise our clients on growing their wealth, it would be figuring out what their retirement plan looks like. A retirement plan is not just sitting down and looking at it monetarily, right? It's the holistic thing of a person, of who they are. It's the holistic thing. So if you're a business owner, or even if you work in corporate America, right? The goal is, what is it that you want your retirement to look like? Do you want to stay in the same location? Do you want to continue to get the same amount of money per month that you're making? What do you want? Are you going to be an empty nester? What does that look like for you when it comes down to growing your wealth, right? And what does it look like? Okay. And one of the things that I believe holistically is, when I sit down with you, I need to know what your actual plan is. Okay. When it comes down to your business, or even just individuals, what is your plan? What is your why? Because that dictates how you think. And the way that you think, again, if we go back to that subconscious mind, it really gives me a clear understanding as to where you're going to end up. So if the way that you're thinking, if you say to me, oh, I want to have $100,000 in the bank, but I spend $5,000 a month on coffee and going out to eat, then that dictates to me what your subconscious mind, what you're doing with your money, first and foremost. And it's not a judgment. Everybody here, just one thing I want you to understand. We're not judging you. We just want you to understand and be realistic as to what that's going to look like for you going forward. That means that you have to cut some things off. Remember, at the beginning, I said you have to remove some things, even if it's people, places, or things. And sometimes when you want to generate that wealth or create wealth, you have to know where the money is going. Where is my money going? Where is it being spent at? That's how you figure that out. Definitely know that we have a plan for you. And that's one of my gifts. You give me what you want, and I'll give you what you need.
Good stuff. Good stuff there. Good questions there coming in from the audience. And thank you so much for that insight, especially from your industry there, India. We're getting close to our time for sure. I want to make sure that we go around the room and talk to people. Let our people know what our aha moments were, Galen, number one. And then also, how can our audience get in touch with you there? So, Galen, can we start that process? What was your aha moment? What stood out the most for you today?
Yeah, for me, it was just the reinforcement of how much work you have to put in to really preparing your subconscious mind. It's all like a garden. Everyone loves to have a lush garden full of fruits, vegetables, or flowers, or whatever the case might be. But there's a lot of work that has to go into planting the right seeds, pruning out the weeds, tending and making sure that you give it the right nutrients. The same thing with your subconscious mind. We've talked several times about how the subconscious mind is what drives your behavior. And India just highlighted how much work you have to put into making sure that your subconscious mind is giving you the output that you're looking for. If you look at your output and you're not happy with what you're seeing, you need to check, what are you doing to to prepare your subconscious mind. So great conversation. I just really love the conversation with India because she really did highlight that for me. My name is Galen Bingham. I'm the leadership strategist. There are so many different ways that you can get a hold of me if you're ready to bake success into your work and life. One of the most fun ways to get a hold of me, though, is to check out my podcast called Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership. It's on every podcast platform. We're streaming in 20 different countries, and we talk to leaders from every walk of life, from every industry. They talk about the whiskeys they drink, the music they listen to, and what it really takes to be an effective leader. I double dog dare you to try us just once. I guarantee you that you will learn something that will help you get from where you are to where you need to be.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Galen. Whiskey, Jazz, and Leadership, with best podcast going around there, Galen. Loving it. Loving it. Indy, I want to bring you back in a little bit and talk about what you're doing. What are the big things going on in your life from a business perspective that you want us to know about, that you want the audience to know about? Maybe some links, maybe some things on how we can stay in touch with you. First, what about, before I go into all of that, forgive me, your aha moment for today? What resonated the most?
One of the things that always resonate with me is the subconscious being 95% of how we actually live throughout this world. That was one of my aha moments. And another one is that, the work that I know, it's a lot of work, and sometimes we don't realize how much work it is, but it is a daily routine ritual in order for you to get to know what your subconscious mind wants you to do or train it to do. So definitely that's one of the things that I'm so excited about, and it's just making sure that my output looks like what my input is. And how you guys can actually reach me. Of course, I'm Googleable. That means that you guys can Google India Roberts and I'll come up. My website, is Bees Professional Services. So it's BESPS.com, or you can call our 800 number, which is 1-888-707-9915. You can reach us that way. I'm on all social medias. I have a big following on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn and you'd like to be a part of our network there, more than welcome to do so. Also on Facebook as well. I have a lot of things that's actually happening with our company. And so definitely, if you have issues with the IRS, just know we can handle that as well. So we are your full service accounting firm at Bees Professional Services. We look forward to serving each and every last one of you guys. And remember, your subconscious mind is the output that you're receiving. So just make sure that you're getting what you want.
Yeah, I love that there, India. Thank you so much. What really resonated for me is what do we intentionally need to inject into our subconscious mind? And I love how you started off with the link between between the Bible and Think and Grow Rich. And we don't often connect the two, or connect even faith to Think and Grow Rich, faith in general, not even the Bible, but the faith that is needed to affect our subconscious, which will affect our actions and our behaviors as we continue to move forward. So thank you so much for bringing that even more to light right out the gate today. Definitely want to thank our audience, our listeners, our watchers this morning. We have Renette, who asked a phenomenal question. We have Wyman, of course, dropping those value bombs on us. Doretha, Cherise, Colette, thank you so much. Who else am I missing on the chat? You all have provided some good insight and some good richness for today's show overall. Thank you also, Renette, for the tweet that you so graciously put out for us to acknowledge our show on Twitter. That's so awesome. My name is Dr. Peter A. James. I am the high performance coach helping you to shift your mindset. You can find me on any social media platform at Dr. Peter A. James. That's at DrPeterAJames. One of the things that we have coming up in the new year, if you have never experienced to what it's like to work with a coach, what it's like to surround yourself with an individual or individuals who are injecting positivity into your mind, injecting it into your life, injecting it into your business and or career. The If Collective is for you. Beginning in January, we're going to meet for 8 weeks, but also you're going to be coached one-on-one, but then also have the opportunity to surround yourself with others in 8 sessions. As you start the new year off on the right foot, as you set out your goals, as you set out your dreams on a regular basis, what if you could do these things there, that be more intentional, have access to 2, not 1, but 2 coaches, be held accountable, and all this for a fraction of a cost of a regular coach? Wouldn't you be interested? I don't know about you, I would be. So definitely consider the If Collective. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Let's do some final parting shots as we get ready to wrap up. Galen, let's start out with you. I know asked you for your ahas earlier. What do you want to leave the audience with today as we wrap up?
Yeah, your success is your responsibility. And I would say that anyone could have fortune accidentally. If you happen to walk into a gas station and ask for a lottery ticket, you could accidentally have success. But can you be successful on purpose? The principles of this book, and this chapter in particular, talks about how you can create success on purpose. So I would just encourage everyone to join us every week as we go through this book. But more importantly, get a copy of the book for yourself and start going through it. As India said, go through it principle by principle, week after week, and you'll start noticing a difference in the outcomes of your life.
Yeah, great stuff. I'm going to also drop something in here that the text says, and I'm going to pass it over to India in just a minute here as well. I'm going to reiterate the text of Think and Grow Rich, as it mentions that negative and positive mindset cannot operate in your brain at the same time. They just can't. You have to replace it, be intentional about injecting that positivity, that faith into your mindset. And so be conscious of what that might look like for you. Be conscious of who you're surrounding yourself with. And let's ensure that you are operating on the right trajectory moving forward, being intentional, even of those family and friends who you think are saying the right things, but maybe saying the negative things as well. India, take us home with a value bomb for our audience, if you could.
Okay, and so I want to leave you guys with this quote, and it is, "As a man thinketh, so he is." Okay, and it has a lot to do with, what do you really think about yourself? How do you really see yourself when you look in the mirror? If you are not satisfied with what you see that's looking back at you, then 2 things need to change: the way that you think, and you need to start reading to do some self-work. So that means that it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just that we just got to do a little bit more work. And don't feel embarrassed if you haven't reached that plateau. Matters where you are in life. Just know that you're still here and you're able to actually reach that plateau. So I respect all of you guys. Good luck with what you're trying to do. And just know, get the book, read it day by day, second by second, hour by hour. Don't let it overwhelm you. Create some affirmations, and understand that you are worthy.
Good stuff. Thank you so much there, India. Thank you so much for joining us today. And all of you who are with us and watching us today, thank you so much for being a part of another episode at Think and Grow Rich Mastermind Live. Remember, join us same time, same channel every Saturday. And don't forget to like us on YouTube, share it with your friends, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.
Why am I supposed to do that?